All right, give me an example of a reality TV show that was predicated on the bait and switch.
Love Island.
Like there's gotcha journalism. What about like gotcha reality TV?
Oh, Joe Millionaire.
Is this a question you have the answer to, or are you actually looking for an answer from us?
I'm looking for feedback.
Joe Millionaire
Okay.
was one that I'm remembering off the top of my head.
It starts out one way, and then all of a sudden, boom, right? The carpet comes out from under the contestant.
Is this where you say NFL is the best reality TV?
No, Dani, thanks
Quit
for
jumping ahead of
right
it.
off the top here. I'm being profiled on Cardinals Underground, brought to you by
Is
Pacific
it
Office.
profiling if it's something that you've said before?
Dani Sureck, who I'm going to have to match your energy here. I'm failing. Darren Urban. Paul Calvisi.
I'm trying to work with you, Paul. Am I getting any credit here?
Not me.
I thought the whole reality TV thing off the top would put Dani in a really good mood. Instead, she's in attack mode. She's in attack mode right off the top. And I'm like, I thought maybe, boom, I just cater right to her wheelhouse and her area of interest, Do you
remember Joe Millionaire, Paul?
I remember the name. Not sure I ever really watched it. Yeah, I do remember. It was a big thing
It was
for a while.
The dude, the guy, the girls who were coming on the show to date him all believed he was like super rich, except he was just some Joe Blow.
That's right.
And if they go through the whole TV show until he basically says, "Yeah, I'm not rich. I'm just some schmuck."
And then all the ladies left skid marks in the parking lot as they peeled out, as they left them in the dust.
There was actually an intern that worked here way back in the day that we nicknamed him Joe Millionaire. We won't get into the reasons why.
Could I say that Punk'd, actually? Remember Ashton Kutcher?
Oh, yeah, Punk.
That was a good show.
And it comes to mind because, he was besties with Matt Leinart when Leinart was drafted by the Cardinals. Those
Everybody
two
was
guys
besties with Matt Leinart when we drafted with the Cardinals.
And they actually punked Leinart right before the NFL draft. He was like out and some infiltrated something. Anyway, I bring that up because we should have known. We should have known Seattle was just a modern day version of punked. Oh, come on out to the stadium. It's 60 degrees and sunny. You might not even need a jacket. And for the first time ever, you might need sunglasses. What a glorious day. Until it wasn't. Until early second quarter, and it's already 28-0. So it was sort of that gotcha version of a reality TV show. So here we are.
Was it gotcha, though? Because I'm just saying, the Cardinals went into that game knowing Seattle was a very good team that's been rolling on offense and had second best defense in a lot of categories.
They got 2 fumble returns for touchdowns with the exact same guy getting the sack and there's no way. That was weird.
My best coach's answer would be yes and no, Dani. Yes
and no.
Yes and no. Yes and no, because yes.
Heard enough of that.
The 2 fumble return touchdowns, a gotcha moment. No, when they own the line of scrimmage, right?
This is true.
So a little bit of both, but you got to figure out, what do you do now as a team? Where does the motivation come from? Where do the reinforcements come from based on what the injury report is going to look like? How do you respond? I think will define a lot of not only the final 8 games and this roster, but I think it might define a lot of what the decision makers are going to do going forward. I mean, they're going to be assessing these last 2 months and making decisions accordingly.
It's going to be, first of all, it's interesting that the Cardinals have 2 games in a row at home. They've already lost to the 49ers once, but I don't think there's anybody on the Cardinals or in this room that didn't believe that the Cardinals should have beat the 49ers the first time around.
True.
And I want to, the 49ers for sure are about the same team at this point. It'll be interesting to see if Ricky Pearsall plays because he killed them the first time.
George Kittle.
Kittle will be back. That's true.
But Bosa was there for not even the first full half against the Cardinals before he was done for the year with the knee injury.
And they've lost Fred Warner, obviously, and Michael Williams. So,
but offensively, more or less the same for San Francisco.
Sure feels like it. McCaffrey's there. It's iffy if you see Brock Purdy. It's probably going to be Mac Jones.
They've been working Brian Robinson Jr. in a little bit more of the running backs, so it's more of a 1-2 punch in the run game.
Probably smart since Christian McCaffrey is like on pace for like 8 million touches.
Yes, he is. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was crazy in Week 10. I mean, just a quick summary here that I saw. For example, the week started with Denver beating the Raiders 10-7. It ended with Monday Night Football, Philly beating the Packers 10-7. Neither game, if you have YouTube TV and you missed Monday Night Football, you didn't miss much.
That would be me.
By the way, Dani, I think I really should bring back the power pole of incompetence.
YouTube TV is right up there.
Exactly.
And you know who else is up there? The Dallas Mavericks, firing Nico Harrison about 11 months too late.
Oh, boy. So I'll stick and move here and continue. You had a Bears team beating the Giants despite like a half dozen drops. Minnesota lost. They committed 8 false starts at home. So
that's crazy. That might be the craziest stat of the week.
There's just a lot of stuff.
You know, this is a good time, Paul. I know I'm a little premature from when we normally get to it, but let's talk about our picks real quick.
Okay, this is a new record. This is a new record.
But because it was so Dani and I were talking all through the game about how we might not pick a game right, and it turned out Dani went 8-5 on her picks. And you and I each went 7-6, and I still don't know how I went 7-6 because every time I looked up, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't get that one right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't get that one right.
Yeah, when I started hearing some of the scores at halftime, Craig Greeley going through the scoreboard, I'm like, wow, I'm not sure I got a single one right. I'm not the only one down 35-0. I mean, like, wow, that was.
You picked Jacksonville, right?
I did
over Houston,
yes,
which we all did, and we should have had that one.
Yes. Yes.
Anyways,
did they really score 29 in the fourth quarter?
No, it was 29. It was 29-10 going into the fourth quarter. The final score was 36-29. So they scored 26.
Holy cow!
Now the last 6 points came on the final play of the game, but
I mean, for example, the Chiefs right now are 0-4 in one-score games. Last year they went 11-0 in one-score games. So in that Dani is the reality TV that is the NFL, is it not? Yes, it is.
You're not looking at me with those daggers, Paul.
I just thought I'd come full circle on that one.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw that out there. Come on. Can we just
don't light the
here?
lamp?
Okay. No, I'm going to light it in your honor, Dani. You won. So where is Dani in the standings right now? You're
third.
She's still
okay.
third.
I'm 3 games back
I'm
from Paul.
91-48. You are 89-50, Paul. And
you know
Dani's
what?
86-50.
I'm close enough.
I shouldn't have asked about the standings because it gave Darren a chance to actually, mention that he's in first place. So I shouldn't have done that. So. All right. If you really want to earn first place, how would you diagnose what happened in Seattle? There was Calais Campbell at his locker. You guys were in the locker room saying, okay, one thing I've learned in my 18 years is don't make too much of a big win or a big loss. It's not the first big loss the Cardinals have suffered in Seattle. Will it be the loss that keeps on giving? That is the question. And how much of it was self-inflicted? For example, just playing the if game for a moment, if Garrett Williams doesn't step on the foot of Jackson Smith and Jigma, if Amari DiMercato picks up the middle linebacker, who supposedly was a very unorthodox type blitz, if indeed Jacoby Brissett by a millisecond is able to get the ball out to a wide open, it was either McBride or Michael Wilson over the middle, we talk about NFL games coming down to 1, 2, a handful of plays. Could you argue in any way that was the case in Seattle, or do you keep going back to the line of scrimmage, which was advantage Seattle on both sides of the ball?
I go to the line of scrimmage. I don't see Williams getting tripped up over JSN's foot when he was stride for stride as self-inflicted. I see that as bad luck. Is that something you can work on in practice maybe of your body positioning? Sure, but that's not self-inflicted to me. Amari DiMercato as your best third down back, not being able to physically pick up the linebacker if he's in the right spot is not self-inflicted. That's just getting beat. The line of scrimmage it wasn't good. There's no way to sugarcoat the offensive line performance for the Cardinals. They knew Seattle's defense was going to be a tough team to face, but Arizona didn't even give themselves a chance. The most self-inflicted of the ones you mentioned would be Jacoby Brissett not getting the ball out. Now, he had a hand in his face pretty consistently. 23 to 27 pressures? That's significant. And
Lorenzo Alexander used the word insane, actually, on the Red Sea Report.
So I guess if you're looking for something that would have been self-inflicted, get the ball out faster. Make that as a halftime adjustment. That's coming. But the defense, that play, I don't see as self-inflicted. And honestly, I don't necessarily find the offensive line play as self-inflicted. They just got beat. That's what it was. Pad level, timing, execution, speed, power, all of that was the advantage for Seattle.
Well, and Drew Petzing, in meeting the media on the Tuesday of this 49ers week coming off the Seattle loss, asked about the state of the offensive line, basically said, look, they're playing hard. You played a very good defensive front. Communication has been good, but at times, quote, you're losing the one-on-ones in critical situations, which has been hurting us, and you need to evaluate how and why that's happening to clean that up. And from field level, and I'm sure it was the same in the press box. The Seattle defensive line played much of the game on the Cardinals side of the line of scrimmage.
And it went both sides. We were sitting here talking about the offensive line, but the Seahawks also ran for 200 yards, and this is a Seahawks team that has not been running the ball all that well. Now, that was dictated by circumstance, and they started running the ball a lot, so you're going to get a lot of yards. But
46 carries.
Also, at the end, what I keep thinking about is the drive that Seattle had, which was, I believe, all runs.
12 runs.
12 runs.
And a field goal.
After the Cardinals went for it on fourth down, and if they had made it, and it was that fantastic play by the Seattle defensive back to knock it out of the diving Marvin Harrison Jr.'s hands. Fantastic video to watch. Unless you're a Cardinals fan, I suppose, that would have cut it to 2 scores. And it's funny, if for everything that happened, if the Cardinals had been within 2 scores with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, I still don't think they're coming back, but that would have been crazy.
Seattle had a drive where they ran 5 straight Zach Charbonnet runs. 5 straight. The defensive line for Arizona wasn't able to set the edges. They weren't able to stop the run. And then as you started working towards the second and third levels of defense, tackling was an issue. And that's not something we've seen from this Cardinals defense all season. There were some plays where the defenders were in the right spot and the timing looked good, just couldn't get the job done, whether that is speed, whether that is the strength of the Seattle's offense. It all around, it is tough to find bright spots. If there are any, it was the complementary football. Cardinals defense had 3 takeaways and the offense scored on 2 of them. But with everything else, you can't even really touch on that.
I was going to make a note that the Cardinals actually won the turnover battle, but then when you add in all the fourth down not fails, but they didn't make it on
turnover
fourth down.
On downs.
Those are essentially turnovers,
yep.
and obviously the Cardinals came out on the wrong end of those. I happened to grab Calais Campbell before he did his scrum in the locker room after, and he wasn't crushed, but he looked weary of something like this. And we're talking, and Calais was on that team that lost 58-0 in Seattle.
That's a mind blow.
And so I'm like, you were in something like that, and he goes, this team isn't that. This team is much, much better than that team was. Which is true. And the line that stuck with me was, because he said it he was almost resigned when he said this. He goes, this team can do damage, but you got to win games. This team is capable of doing damage, but you got to win games. And I think that's where the frustration level is. And we can talk about this all day. You are what your record says you are. At some point you got to kind of give into that to a certain extent. However, the players see a team when they go out there, it's not that they don't understand why they're losing, especially this Sunday, but I think they're a little mystified that they're in this position record-wise.
Well, it's the first game that got out of hand, obviously, and it was a different game after it was 35-0. Seattle went into 4-minute mechanics, so it's hard to get a read as to what you truly did the rest of the game. But to your point, Darren, to Calais' point, there was still fight in the second half. There was not fight in that 58-0. That team was resigned to,
totally different.
So it was different, but. Look, the eyeball test will tell you there were 2 teams playing at 2 different speeds out on that field. And so for all the X's and O's and other stats we want to break out, there was one team that was ultra aggressive in attack mode and dictated the game. And to me, that was the ultimate difference. And it always starts inside out at the line of scrimmage. And yes, we did know about Seattle's defense, but that Seattle offensive line, that's the biggest story to me. And watching, we get to see that team twice a year, every year. And for every year of about a decade, the offensive line has been below average, and now all of a sudden their offensive line is above average.
Both sides of the ball, Arizona was just a step behind Seattle. Line of scrimmage on offense, couldn't win. Brissett seemed just a moment too late in getting the ball out of his hands. And the receivers, they had a tough day against Seattle's secondary. And there were multiple instances where passes that should have been caught weren't because the receivers were not strong enough at the point of attack. And that's a big picture discussion that we can have. But that's been something for the receivers is we hear it from coaches. You need to be stronger at the point of attack in those contested catches. That was advantage Seattle. And for Seattle's offense, quarterback Sam Darnold was hardly pressured. Cardinals pass rush couldn't get anything going. And that happens when they're just able to run the ball. So all in all, every advantage pretty much went to Seattle. It was just an ugly day.
And to me, that's the one thing that harkens back to the Legion of Boom is that secondary. Very, very physical, ball hawking, intimidating, long, athletic. Everything's a contested catch. They just keep fighting you, hand-to-hand fighting back there, and knowing the officials are only going to call so many of them. All right, it's come time. You know what? I think we need to hit the reset button ourselves. Let's get cultured with Dani. Dani, we'll segue to you.
Getting cultured with Dani. It is not just directed at Paul.
Am I the default uncultured Philistine around here?
Yes.
You got me very excited now.
I am on social media and consume more pop culture than both of you combined.
I think I'm being unfairly profiled, but go ahead.
Let's go. Just going to continue with the updates on the Louvre heist. It came out recently that the password to the video surveillance system is Louvre. Louvre. That was told by a museum employee.
Well, I guess that's better than 1, 2, 3, 4.
Having your password as password.
Was Louvre written down like on a Post-it note right next to the computer?
by the keyboard?
Right by the keyboard. That's the only thing that's worse.
Oof.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, that's outstanding.
That is.
I mean, who's in charge of security? My father? Because that's what my dad does. All his passwords on Post-it notes up and down the computer screen on either side. It's outstanding.
2026 Grammy nominations came out. Grammys will be in early February. And Kendrick Lamar, last year's Super Bowl halftime performer, Lady Gaga, and Bad Bunny, this year's halftime performer, lead the nominations. So in the month of February, Bad Bunny could sweep the Grammys and have a Super Bowl halftime performance.
So you're saying there's something fishy there, Dani?
No, I'm just saying he's poised to have a really good month.
Okay.
2026 might be his year.
February's a tough month to have a good month at. I got to be honest.
Why?
Just saying. Why? I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. Are you a February fan?
I hadn't really put much thought into it, but
Well,
I guess maybe
you should.
not.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is my segment, Darren. Don't tell me what to do.
All right.
Next bullet point. Does Aaron Rodgers' wife exist? That's what the internet is wondering, not me. In June, Rodgers confirmed that he and his wife Brittany got married. However, there was a story that came out this week on the Daily Mail. One of the WAGs, wives and girlfriends, told the Daily Mail, quote, "She's like a phantom. No one on the team has supposedly," this is all alleged, "no one on the team has supposedly met Rodgers' wife." And there was a quote in this Daily Mail article that says, "We all want to meet her, but we haven't met her yet. We don't even know who she is." Supposedly, the Daily Mail also spoke to 4 family members of Rodgers, and no one has met her, although he is estranged from most of his family, so that would track. I'll keep an eye on things for you guys.
I would say there's a direct correlation. She's staying away from the people who are talking to the gossip publications.
That's a good point.
Or maybe she's just hiding at the Louvre.
She's smarter than you think, and she's anticipated what would happen if she does meet with these people. So, everything, including the paparazzi, would probably be there.
Last on my list, the Atlanta Braves posted a new job. They're looking for a new mascot sprinter, a.k.a. Mr. Freeze.
Wow, he lost a step or two. Hadn't he been losing a few races?
He's gotten beat a few times.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I mean, that's the problem. There's not a lot of longevity with that job. Like, you got to have your athletic ability.
Darren, you've got long legs. You can maybe do it.
I think I've
You're
told
a
the story
runner.
before, but one time I was playing at Little League. I forget how old I was, maybe 10 or 11, whatever it was. And we had to run the bases. For the first practice, my Little League coach was basically timing everybody's, and I got all the way around the bases, and he yelled at me in front of the whole team, "Man, we could have done that with a sundial."
Oh, no. It was either that or you pulling a trailer. Those are the old two baseball Little League coach sayings. Yeah. That's okay.
Not fast.
Well,
You've both been cultured. You're welcome.
Maybe I should give a quick shout out to my wife who was running with Cheeto yesterday and took a header.
Ooh.
Tripped over either her shoes or her pants, whatever she was wearing.
Why are you laughing, Paul?
That's what she said. Why are you laughing? As I was laughing. And she, big scrape on her elbow and her wrist and her shoulder as
Is Cheeto okay?
down goes.
Cheeto, okay.
But that would have been the better response. Instead of asking.
I mean, if we're watching like one of the Naked Gun movies, like Cheeto ends up like a pancake underneath your wife when he falls on top of her.
You know what? When I get home today, that's what I'm going to do as a follow-up to the laughing. I'm going to say, how's Cheeto doing? And just totally disregard her status. We get
Thank God you didn't fall on Cheeto.
Okay. So I tell you what, though. The only person who's taking and delivering more of a beating these days is Trey McBride. It is quite a sight. The Cardinals, I don't know if you can do this. There's probably NFL broadcast bylaws against it. Could you have a live stream of just Trey McBride? Akin to picture-in-picture. Can you just have a live stream, just an 85 cam? And you just follow Trey McBride in every single play. And maybe that would be the second screen on the phone. Can you live stream that via like the Cardinals Twitter account? Darren, you run a lot of this stuff. Make it happen. I can't do everything around here. Let's get a Trey McBride cam.
I could put in a word to the powers that be. I got to ask, Paul, there's a rumor going around that you might have figured out that we actually could be saying big play Trey. Is this true?
I had a conversation with a well-placed source who says that, according to Trey, says this source.
There's the source.
According to the source, Trey says he has absolutely no problem with Trey McPlay. No problem whatsoever. Which, honestly...
how did that rumor get started? You want to talk about rumors?
Would fit the scouting report, because Trey seemed like he's a guy who would care.
Yeah.
About nicknames? No. He doesn't care.
I know that Traquan is picking up steam.
Traquan.
Have you not heard that one?
I've not heard that
one. Which teammate gave that to him?
I believe Greg Dortch.
Greg Dortch was saying like.
That's well done, Greg.
Kind of like saying he's more like a Traquan.
When he steps onto the field.
I know that kind of picked up some steam. So that is quality.
Right.
But I'm glad that we have a little bit of freedom. I mean, if we're going to talk about Trey McBride this much, we probably need multiple nicknames.
Okay, I'm smelling a cards cam here, like as they're walking off the field, and give them like multiple choice, 85 nicknames: Big Play Trey, Trey McPlay, Traquan. I like
Money McBride.
Oh wow, okay, all right. So there you go. So
we need to get all this to Ainsley so we can get that.
Yeah, you can get that, and then everyone can sort of make their decision. I don't know. That's
look at you, Paul. The Haps on social media.
Well, sometimes we have to launch the I-team around here and do CSI investigations behind the scenes. So, we had to figure out, okay, what was prohibited, what was permissible exactly.
Wait a minute. You said big play Trey, and I'm looking at this. Was it Trey McPlay?
Trey McPlay was the rumor he did not like.
Yeah.
Supposedly he didn't like, but he's like, no, he's. Oh, I'm sorry. The source said he had no problem with it. The source did. I almost blew the cover. We also had Trey McHurdle, as Jim Omohundro said. We had that at some point. Was that this year, last year? I can't remember.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem with Trey McHurdle. Like every time the hurdle comes up, he keeps talking about how he shouldn't be doing it, and he actually seems he does seem a little irritated when that subject.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to X that one out. That doesn't make the final cut. You're right.
Money McBride, I think, needs to get brought up.
Okay. So, all right. There you go. In terms of Trey McBride,
yes,
against George Kittle. That's always good theater, too, because I'm going to guess, just based on past conversations, there's no tight end that he has more respect for in the game than George Kittle.
I think that's fair.
And he tries to pattern his game after George Kittle. And there's certain things that Trey does a lot better than George and vice versa. But, I mean, you're looking at probably, can I say it, the two most complete tight ends in the game will be on the field Sunday.
On Monday Night Football, at one point, Troy Aikman was talking about Tucker Kraft and how he's out for the season. And he talked about what a complete tight end. What he said was he's one of the few complete tight ends in the league, and there's very few of them. And I wanted him so badly for him to name them to see if he would include Trey in this.
That would have been good. Yeah, has he elevated his status we know he's elevated his game, but is he elevated his name recognition to make a conversation on Monday Night Football in the booth?
He was the highest paid tight end in NFL history for about 20 seconds before Kittle beat him by pennies. Absolutely, McBride has become that name in the booth.
Is he going to make it to the end of the season? And knock on wood, I mean, he is getting
Don't do that to me, Paul.
You talk about, I mean, just the beating he is taking in these games. I mean, he is getting hit. He's exhausted. He comes to the sideline. I guess the TV cameras caught it. He came over and took a knee by the kicking net after his touchdown. I mean, we said it on every platform. He is leaving it all out on that field. And, Calais gets a veteran rest day and Kelvin Beachum. May I put a little note into the suggestion box of the coaches? Give Trey McBride a rest day every Wednesday at this point because he's exerting that much energy out there.
Well, they need him. He's the most reliable receiver at this point. McBride's already got 11 straight games going back to last year with 5+ receptions. He's inching close to setting a franchise record and beating Larry Fitzgerald with that account. Look, McBride continues to be all of the things we've touched upon as a reliable weapon with his hands, his catch radius, inability to go down on first contact. He gets you those dirty extra yards, and he garners a lot of defensive attention. He's still finding ways to win. He's finding ways to get open. He has elevated his blocking game, especially not having Tip Ryman and Travis Vokalek as the top two blockers has helped fill that role a little bit. But this Cardinals offense is when they struggle, you got to go to 85. And so that's what I would expect we see a lot of in San Francisco, especially against a 49ers defense that is without Fred Warner.
Let me ask you a tough question. Should the rest of the offense...
Oh, wait, are we on Wise Guy already? Sorry.
Wow, just another subtle, subliminal flex by Darren. It really is.
Anyways, go right ahead, Paul.
The tough question goes something like this. Should the rest of the offense elevate its energy and intensity level to match Trey McBride?
Yes.
Should they? Yes. It's funny. In the mailbag, somebody asked...
Meaning, is it an indictment
Oh.
that they haven't yet, especially in a game like that at Seattle? For example, is it a glaring issue in your mind that more guys haven't matched at least the fight in Trey's game? Because the one thing you would hope is that it does rub off. It is contagious, right? That everyone else at least goes out there and exerts themselves to that level. And look, I'm trying to keep it real here. I would say most of the season, yes, but in this last game, no. And with 8 games to go, if you can give some free advice to the rest of the locker room, look at 85 every chance you get. And if you're wondering how to play the game and what manner to play the game, look at Trey McBride.
Absolutely. Without having James Conner, the heart and soul of this offense, McBride has stepped up in that front. While it's true, the Cardinals had fight in Seattle, despite the score, they stayed in it. You could tell on the sideline they were dejected. You could tell that they were getting beat and they felt it. There are certain players, I don't know that I would use the word issue, because there are certain players who just don't play that way. Now, you can still have fight and you can still be physical and you can be intense without showing the emotions the way McBride was. And,
True.
And Marvin Harrison Jr. is a great example of that. That's never going to be someone, with the exception of maybe when he has a great play in the end zone and Moss is a defender and you can see that emotion. He's reserved. He's an introvert. He doesn't talk smack on the field. So I wouldn't categorize it as an issue if everyone doesn't look the same way McBride does with the emotion, because not a lot of people in that locker room, I feel like, are capable of that.
Something else strikes me here as we talk about this subject, and if you're in a position, how do I want to say this? If Trey McBride makes a great play and you're down by 30 points and he's fighting through it and he gets up and he shows a lot of emotion and everybody's like, yeah, like this is what this team needs. And I'm not going to name any names, but if a defensive back goes and makes a great play when you're down 35 and gets all emotional about it, it kind of comes off differently.
And I'm not necessarily talking about celebrating or flexing it.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the intensity
but
from whistle to whistle.
See it. That's how you see it in a lot of ways, too.
And you're right. Like, different players put that toughness on film, but you don't necessarily, celebrate in the same way.
You're not wrong, but I think you have that conversation every time a team struggles in a game. Is like, where is that? And I would dare say that if you go and really watch whatever individual player through a whole season, wins and losses, they're probably going to mirror themselves all the way through, even when they play well as opposed to when they play bad. I'm not saying there aren't going to be times when you can kind of tell a little bit, but I bet you it's probably closer to like, that's just how they play.
Seattle's also an interesting example. It wasn't a close game ever. Not to say that you shouldn't have emotion or fight by any means, but this isn't a situation where it was a one-score game and you've got people hyping each other up on the sideline.
Yeah, true. I mean, there was that players-only meeting. Calais and Budda Baker called the defense together, and then Calais talked with you guys a little bit at his locker afterwards, and essentially was do your job and play with heart and all that. So, they were conscious of it because they knew the situation. They knew how lopsided it was on the scoreboard. Speaking of lopsided, I guess that's as good an intro as
You're
any.
The king of segues.
As we
really are.
Continue to keep it real, even at our own expense here during Wise Guy.
It's time for The Wise Guy, the world's fastest growing Cardinals quiz show. The stakes are low, the winner gets absolutely nothing. Here's your hostess with the mostest, Dani Sureck.
Darren is our reigning champ, and it sure was a close one last week.
Oh, that's right, it was.
The tiebreaker, 0.5 sacks was the difference.
I'm the Kansas City Chiefs right now, 0-4 in one-score games.
I'm going to cede my first pick to Zonovan over there.
Wow.
Whoa,
Wow.
unprecedented.
Okay. Wow, as I look over
He's
here.
really smelling himself.
And there's a documentary on Pat Tillman,
Yes.
so all of a sudden I'm
try not to be distracted.
I'm enthused right now. All right, so you know what? I'll go with number 4 in honor of the first number in his number.
The longest continuously operating chocolatier in the U.S. started as a chocolate shop in San Francisco in 1852. Paul, you lived in the Bay. If you don't get all of these right, I will judge you.
It's right there on Fisherman's Wharf. I've been in there. I've spent a lot of money, a lot of kids in there clamoring for Ghirardelli chocolate. Ghirardelli chocolate. Ghirardelli.
If you would have missed that, I would have. That would have been just crushing.
We would have just called the season. A wise guy.
Number 1, Dani.
Here we go.
In 2004, Larry Fitzgerald caught the first of his 121 regular season touchdowns against the 49ers in San Francisco. With Anquan Bolden sidelined due to injury, who was the Cardinals' starting wide receiver opposite Fitzgerald in that game?
In 2004, I would hope it would have. Was it Bryant Johnson?
It sure was.
Well, there you go.
Bryant Johnson, who with Calvin Pace, the Cardinals took instead of
Terrell Suggs.
There you go. Yeah. That's your bonus. That's your bonus wise
Suggs
guy.
ran a horrible 40. Remember that? And then all of a sudden his stock dropped.
He also took a rebar in a 3-on-3 tournament right around the time of the draft. That didn't help.
I see. As we're looking at Pat starting fights in his his rookie training camp. Yeah, I was standing right there when that happened. All right, go ahead. Here we go.
You're old, Paul.
Question, Paul, you have to pick the question. Don't just look at me and say, here we go. Question 2 or 3.
Okay, let's see here. Ohms is putting these questions together. He's going to go easy, hard, easy, hard. 2. That's the way he's going to think about it.
I was hoping you were going to pick number 2. The ABC sitcom Full House, which I know for a fact you never watched, aired from 1987 to 1995 and was set in San Francisco.
Yes, it was.
It starred Bob Saget as Danny Tanner, Dave Coulier as Joey Gladstone, and this actor as Uncle Jesse.
Uncle Jesse from Full House.
Come on, Paul.
He
wait a
was
minute.
married to the model and actress Rebecca Romaine until their divorce in 2005, which I'm sure doesn't help you.
Wasn't there an Uncle Jesse in Dukes of Hazzard?
There
by
was.
The way?
That was Denver Pyle.
But we're talking Full House.
Dang it. More dang it. Full House, Jesse. It was a dark-haired guy. Italian last name. Roberto Milano. No idea. Made it up.
John Stamos.
Darren gets the steal.
It's Enrico Palazzo.
Sitcoms from the 80s. Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Question 3 for Darren.
Yes.
Brock Purdy isn't the only Arizona high school quarterback to suit up for the 49ers. This former Phoenix Christian standout played 5 seasons in San Francisco, 1 year with Tampa Bay, and finished his career with 4 games as a Cardinal, throwing 3 of his 31 touchdown passes while with Arizona.
He doesn't need all the stats. He's got it.
His father, a longtime high school football coach in the Valley,
Was like Darren's neighbor.
wore an eye patch. The quarterback was Tim Rattay.
It sure was. Darren gets the win.
I think I actually covered Tim Rattay in high school. In fact, I know I did.
Paul, you had it.
Well, it was the wrong choice of questions, obviously. I get a Full House
Self-inflicted.
sitcom.
Would you have known the Rattay one?
mean, I'm getting a supporting actor in a 1980s sitcom,
I don't know that. So he was one of the main actors.
and he's getting a Tim Rattay question.
Would you have gotten Tim Rattay?
Yes.
Okay,
Tim Rattay,
just checking.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I remember where his locker was, right
Yeah,
over, on the back corner. Okay. So there we go. Mark down another L. And,
So why don't you
here
start
we go.
studying up for Jacksonville?
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I'm gonna be excited because we never get Jacksonville questions.
I'm rooting for you, Paul.
Yeah, I'm sure that sounds really heartfelt right there and genuine. All right, so I'm injured right now. I'm trying to recover from yet another loss. Where are the Cardinals in the injury front? Because it can always get worse. It did. 7 different guys by my count.
Let me ask you, Paul. When you have that many injuries, like was every single sideline hit just an injury update?
No, not quite, but I did miss a number of plays because I'm trying to chase down. I'm either stationed over at the blue tent,
Yeah.
and I've got 14 6'6", 350-pound guys in front of me, so I can't see a dang thing. Or you're hunting down the media relations person for the updates.
Chris
so,
Melvin's not just texting you; he's not.
and then we chase him down. Chris is he can't be bothered by
He's
that.
busy.
So and then you're trying to coordinate with the TV sideline reporter. There's more to it than you think, Darren.
Oh, I believe it. That's why we need your experience.
But
down there.
it was fast and furious, unfortunately, in terms of the injuries. And I just wrote down the numbers. So Zay Jones, who came off, and Walter Nolan, and Darius Robinson, Jonah Williams, Simi Fehoko, Bam Knight, and Rabbit. Wow. I mean,
Well, Zay Jones is done for the season with an
Yep.
Achilles.
Yep.
Semi Fehoko is going to miss apparently significant time with an arm injury. And then we're waiting to hear on everybody else.
Yeah.
Rabbit didn't come back into the game after getting his ankle taped.
Yeah.
So that doesn't necessarily bode very well for him moving forward. The real questions are going to be the defensive line. Darius Robinson with the groin and Walter Nolan III with the knee, because those were so late in the game. And
I mean,
we
with
won't
the
hear-
new ones, what scares me is we're still talking about 2 cornerbacks and a
Yes.
linebacker that didn't play that game that we don't know if they're back this week.
it's true.
Mac Wilson, Max Melton, and
Will Johnson.
I mean, this could look like the second half of a game in August. I mean, there would be a lot of names and numbers out there that you wouldn't normally see except in the preseason. I mean, that's how banged up they are.
The bright side would be if running back Trey Benson makes his return. He's missed the minimum 4 games being on IR with the knee injury. We won't have any sort of updates until Jonathan Gannon takes the podium Wednesday, and that's when we will get our first injury report of the week. If Benson's able to go, then that could give you a boost you're looking for.
And if there's one team that does not care, it is the San
Yeah, that's
Francisco
fair.
49ers. So you got to go out and you got to figure it out, and you kind of come up with a plan, because Kyle Shanahan will have a plan, especially coming off a loss after they got throttled by the hated Rams. And Matthew Stafford is on an unbelievable heater right now.
NFC West is...
I mean, his last 6 games, 20 touchdown passes, 0 picks. And so they are rolling. Seahawks think they're all that, and those two are going to clash this week. Rams, Seahawks.
That's a fantastic game.
That is a good game.
Where is that? Is that game in L.A.? Anyone?
I should not speculate. I don't know.
Well, you can. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to hold it to us
yeah.
if we're wrong.
So that'll be a big game.
It's in LA.
Okay.
Thank you, Dani.
But look, you got a 49ers team that with Mac Jones has still been really formidable. It's a Niners defense that has had issues. I mean, they still put 26 points on the board against the Rams. There was still a 1-score game 2 times in the second half, even though they lost 44-26. So the Niners were competing. They just don't have much left on the defensive side of the ball. Question is, can the Cardinals take advantage of that? Because they're like dead last in sack percentage.
Well, Niners are without two of their best defenders in linebacker Fred Warner and defensive end Nick Bosa. So that's going to affect them, obviously. And this is a Cardinals offense that has no option but to take advantage of that. Based on what we saw against the Cowboys, which, yes, was a really bad defense, we've seen, even against good defenses like the Colts and the Packers, the Cardinals have the personnel. They have the ability to drive the ball down the field and put points on the board. They weren't able to do that against Seattle. You have to do it against San Francisco. It's going to be a tough task for the Cardinals defense, regardless of who's in at quarterback for the Niners. Mac Jones has played 8 games and has looked good. But that's like every other offensive player who steps in for a Kyle Shanahan-led offense, which is plug and play. It's regardless of who is in there. They find a way to get the job done. Shanahan receives a lot of praise around the league of his ability to disguise what his offense is doing, unlike anyone else. And when DC Nick Rawlis was at the podium Tuesday, and I asked him about any sort of advantage or leg up they have in the prep by making this the second time facing the 49ers, he very slowly shook his head with a small smirk and said, no, there is no advantage in that front, and that he and his staff like to work ahead, but when it comes to the 49ers, you are already behind in the prep for them because that's how tough they are.
The old saying, players know players, coaches know coaches, and all you have to do is ask any coach. I mean, think about it. As long as Kyle Shanahan has been in the division and the different coaches the Cardinals have had coming through, head coaches, assistant coaches, every time you ask them about Kyle Shanahan, there's always that, right? I mean, it's just, which is an ultimate compliment. Just sort of a visceral, guttural reaction coaches have to the task, the monumental task of trying to fit a Niners offense because of their ability to mess with your eyes and use basically your own instincts against you.
I don't know what the Cardinals are going to look like this weekend in terms of injury-wise and who they may or may not have. But maybe I'm colored by the fact that we watched this group in Week 3 and the Cardinals should have won that game. I fully expect this game to be close, and if anybody is surprised if the Cardinals win this game, no matter what the 49ers have accomplished this season or the Cardinals haven't, I just think that's foolish. Like, I still look at this team, and I mean, this should be a close game.
And there is an advantage to playing this team and this offense twice a year. So with that in mind, the more veteran experience you have out there against Kyle Shanahan's offense, usually the better off you are. It's sort of like that stat, Lamar Jackson against the NFC. He's like 22-2 in his career, something insane like that, because the NFC doesn't get to play against the Lamar Jackson experience very much. He's a singular player, so the more you're going to go against the Niners, et cetera. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We do know this before we get to winning behavior. The division is going to be a barometer for the decision makers. I mean, it's always something you assess at the end of the year. How did you do within your own division? Where do you stand and stack up in your own division? And then guess what? Off-season decisions are made based on where you exist in the hierarchy of the NFC West. It's just the way it is.
You have to be competitive within the division to have a true shot at making the postseason. That's just the way it goes. If you're not fighting for that number one spot in the division, it's tough to make the playoffs when you're starting to talk about wild card spots. And while statistically the Cardinals have improved against the division the last couple of years since Gannon took over, to not be competitive at all against the Seahawks it's tough. And that's not what you want. That's not what this team can have. And then you're looking around at the rest of the division and you get swept by Seattle. Cardinals lost to the 49ers in the first round, the first matchup, and they haven't even played the Rams yet, who are rolling. Like, it's not an excuse, but the NFC West is about as tough as they come collectively.
Yeah. All right, winning behavior. Let's do it. Let's hear it. Darren says he's going to bat lead off.
I am going to bat lead off, but are we going to have a... Oh, there we go.
I see you. Let's go.
Can you display winning behavior? You have to consistently display winning behavior.
That's winning behavior.
You got to define what winning behavior is and hold people to that standard.
Yes.
That was sort of a hard count I gave right there. I think I threw the booth, but I thought I'd let Darren just hang there, just wondering.
It worked. I felt completely awkward. So I'm sure that'll make for fine television.
So if you want to bat lead off, go ahead. All right, you just took a pitch. I
did.
You're down 0-1 in the count. Let's go.
Okay, Paul. I saw this literally like 30 minutes before we came in here today.
Okay.
A father in China had a 23-year-old son who had some, I guess, good engineering job or something. And I'm not really sure if he lost it or if he quit because he really is in the World of Warcraft. And since he left this job, he's apparently playing it 24/7. And the dad is upset. So he hired some video game assassins in World of Warcraft to go kill his son over and over and over and over, hoping to drive his son out of the video game and into finding a job. And seeing some of the people talking about this, like, obviously dad doesn't completely understand because, like, dying in a video game, that kind of happens. So, like...
Yeah, there's the reset button.
But he literally looked for, like, high-level World of Warcraft people and hired hitmen to go after his son's avatar.
That's playing chess, not checkers.
To leave his son despondent and demoralized that he would actually get back to his day job. That's
Leroy Jenkins!
Okay.
The boys in the booth know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's two of us. Here we go. First snow game of the year in Chicago, really?
Yes.
I'm not keeping. I lived in the 312 for a couple of years. I don't keep up my Chicago 5-day forecast. Snow was coming?
It was. Well, my son and his fiance actually went to the game, and there was. It wasn't like it was totally like.
It wasn't a blizzard,
but it was. You could tell on the TV, and it was cold.
It was enough to be grateful to live in Arizona.
Yeah, Dani made a couple comments that she was happy that it wasn't there. And let's all hope that you guys don't face snow in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, we're not even talking about that. Not even talking about that. But we are talking about this sandwich guy and his trial.
Dude, you know about this, right, Paul?
I'm aware of this, yes. I've seen the video.
Unfortunately...
I thought he was exonerated. I thought he was found innocent.
I don't know this.
At the very end, he was acquitted. I put that in there.
All right.
But I wanted to get to it last week, and we didn't have time, or whenever I put it in there. As a quick recap, there was a gentleman somewhere in some fine city that was upset with ICE and chucked a Subway sandwich at one of them, and they arrested him for assault with a deadly sandwich. And the government, this fine government, actually took him to trial. And my favorite line, the defensive attorney said, they opened their statement with, "He did it. He threw the sandwich." The guy was charged with assaulting. They brought the guy who he hit. And the guy who he hit said, "I could feel the impact of the sandwich through my ballistic vest, and it exploded all over my uniforms. I could smell the onions and the mustard." Your tax dollars at work, everybody. By the way, as Paul said, he was acquitted.
I mean, criminal misuse of an Italian grinder. I mean, that should have been the charge. It really
That's not much of a ballistic vest if you're feeling the impact of the sandwich.
I want to get to Paul's bullet point because when I was going on my rant about the awful shoe repairman who screwed me over, we didn't have time to get to Paul's.
Wow. Okay.
So I've been waiting for this.
That's true.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So I was entertained by the fact that a couple of days after I had put up some pretty impressive parallel parking, if I do say so myself, I discovered that they have a parallel parking championship every year in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
okay.
5th annual.
Quick, I don't want to cut you off, but I find that timing odd, and I'm wondering, did Paul park so well parallel-wise that he went looking for a way to show it off nationally?
It was the Car and Driver Twitter feed, and that just happened to be a story that came up. They entered one of their writers into the parallel parking championships, like 250 people. I think she finished 18th.
What does that mean? Is closest to the curb wins?
Well, he's getting to that.
Here we go. It's so here's how it works. They start the timer. They have referees. As soon as the reverse lights come on, they stop it when they hear the driver yell "done." You get one chance and one chance only. And if you hit the vehicle in front or behind you, you're out. If you hit the curb, you're out. And you can use backup cameras,
All right.
all this. So the winner was in a compact car, and it was 13.38 seconds and a mere 6 centimeters from the curb.
Wow.
Right, so is it timing or is it distance from the curb?
It's the combination.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Of the
There's
two.
a formula. It's kind of like the for comp picks in the NFL draft. Nobody knows it.
And I bring this up because we had to go to this when I had a family event, and I busted up the family's old 2000 Ford Explorer, which is a big old truck beast of a thing. And I had everyone piled in there, and we went down, and we're looking for parking, and everyone's screaming, "Hey, you're not going to find parking near this restaurant. There's no chance. You better park over in the auxiliary lot." "No, I got this. There's going to be a spot down here." And sure enough, you're not going to fit it in there. There's no way. I go, "Watch this." Boom! Without any backup cameras or anything. Because remember, I had to parallel park for 4 years in San Francisco on a
that's
hill
true.
with bad linkage and a manual transmission. So you had one chance at it, or you couldn't get it out of reverse. And boom, we parked that thing. And I made everyone pick up the dinner tab after that,
I was just
Dani.
having this conversation with my cousin who recently turned 16, and I was asking him, this feels like such a boomer take of mine, I was asking him when doing his driver's test if with the parallel parking they could use the backup cameras, and he said, yeah, you can use any bells or whistles that come with the car. And I said, well, that's cheating. Don't you need to learn how to parallel park without a backup camera?
Well, that's like saying somebody our age should say, "Yeah, Dani, you have to go
without seatbelts?
No, I'm not. Shush. You have to go find something across town, but you can't use your Google. You can't use your phone as a map. You either got to pull out the paper map or just freaking find it yourself."
Well, that's fair. I mean, I did used to have to get everywhere by thinking ahead and printing out like 8 pages of MapQuest to get somewhere.
I have 2 teenagers, and they're new drivers, and neither one of them knows a single street name because it doesn't matter. Everything is just where their phone tells them to go.
like-
They put in the address,
Yeah.
and they pay no attention to street. What intersection was that? No idea. They have no clue.
That's like having no idea. You have like your circle of friends and people you call all the time, and you don't have any idea what any other phone numbers are because you just.
So there we go. Any final thoughts football-wise in this edition of Cardinals Underground? Anything you anticipate with this game? Home for 2 games. Here come the 49ers. Niners made State Farm Stadium their home during COVID for a good month plus back in the day.
That's
So
the pass, Paul.
they come in, and all right, we'll see. They're still in the race. So I think, first off, you better match their energy because they're playing for something.
Sure.
And
Look, the NFL is the greatest reality show, Paul.
That's what I've heard.
oh, no. Wow. It wasn't enough that I got the Full House question,
You
You
picked it.
I mean, are we, what are we even doing here?
You picked it.
Exactly. I mean, I'm going to go back and I'm going to make sure that to put that into a trivia question, that actor better have won some sort of Emmy for, supporting actor that year. That's all
John
I've said.
Stamos?
What else is John Stamos known for? Anything?
Marrying Rebecca Romaine.
There you go. And that'll do it for this edition of Cardinals Underground, brought to you by Pacific Office Automation.